أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين. We continue with Sura to Abasa, verses number 11 onwards. كلا إنها تذكرة فمن شاء ذكره في صحف مكرمة مرفوعة مطهرة بأيدي سفرة كرام بررة. By no means, for it is indeed a reminder, therefore whoever wishes to remind would be reminded, in books held greatly in honor, exalted in dignity, kept pure and holy, written by the hands of scribes. Tentatively we take this translation because I usually do not use Yusuf Ali translation, but I forgot to bring my Quran anyhow. Now, if you remember, the surah started with a rebuke of an act. Whoever was the addressee of that rebuke, we discussed it previously, but the rebuke was that you tend to people who are arrogant in the hope that they would be reminded, and you turn away from those who come with fear to hear this reminder, to hear the Quran, and to become fearful upon hearing it. Now, kalla means by no means this is the case. By no means I can approve of this act, tending to the arrogant, turning away from the fearful in the hope that the arrogant would listen and would be reminded. Why? Because إنها تذكرة. This is only a reminder. It means that you cannot, by trying to appease some people, by trying to solicit the attention of some people, to try to bring them into this understanding and into the situation of being reminded. Whoever wishes could be reminded. It is not in your hand. فَمَنْ شَاءَ ذَكَرَهُ. Whoever wishes can be reminded of it, can remember it. So innaha returns to the verses of the Quran, or to the Quran itself. Innaha tadhkirah. This is just a reminder. As we discussed last week, the Quran does not give us much new knowledge that we do not know in our fitrah. If we did not know in our fitrah who is God, if we did not know in our fitrah there is a hereafter, if we did not know in our fitrah that our good and bad actions are going to be judged upon later on, none of these verses would have actually availed us. It benefits us. It gives us a reminder because we already have it in our fitrah. And therefore, this shows, or this is a proof, that Allah has given us two types of guidance, or maybe three types of guidance that could be reduced into two. The three types of guidance that Allah has given us is: one, the knowledge He has given us in our fitrah. That is what we call it, the knowledge given us in alamul dhar, the knowledge given us prior to coming to this world. Now, in whatever way we accept the alam al-zar to be, whether it was a world before this world, or it is something that everyone experiences before being born, before their soul comes to their bodies, in whatever way we explain it, we have been given some sort of knowledge of God. And this is what A'imma alayhimu salam have explained about alam al-zar, that وَإِذْ أَخَذَ اللَّهُ مِنْ بَنِي آدَمَ إذ أخذ الله بني آدم من ظهورهم ذريتهم وأشهدهم على أنفسهم Alastu bi rabbikum. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took Banu Adam, the children of Adam, while they were in the back of their fathers, and made them witness upon themselves, saying that, am I not your Lord? قَالُوا بَلَا شَهِدْنَا. Yes, we witness. This might be a very, very succinct, metaphorical type of mentioning that a knowledge is given to us about our Lord. In the traditions from A'imma alayhimus salam, we have that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says that, yes, Allah has shown himself to every soul before they come to this world. However, they have forgotten that occasion, but they can remember what they were taught, what they were shown on the occasion. Even if there was a collective occasion of people being taken as small particles, as small cells, and shown the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or Allah has shown himself to them, they cannot remember that. But what they can remember is that they have a knowledge of that encounter with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They have a knowledge that Allah is their Lord. And if the Imam alayhi salam says that if that had not happened, then Quran would have not reminded anyone of that knowledge. So the Quran does not give us a new knowledge. It only gives us a reminder of the knowledge that already is in our fitrah. Now, so these are two types of guys. What's the knowledge we were given at the beginning, and the Quran, which comes and reminds us. And of course there is another guide for us, and that is reason and intellect, which is usually called the inner prophets. And it is by the judgment of reason and intellect that we can understand what the Quran says, what the prophets say. And as I said, these three could be reduced to two, and that is the Quran and aql, or reason, because it is due to that aql that we have understood and we have been given that prior knowledge. That aql contains the prior knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this way Allah says that I leave no excuse for anyone on the day of judgment coming and saying that I was unaware of this. The only thing is that some of you, when you encounter with these reminders, with this tazkara, you are reminded, you want to be reminded, you pay attention, and some of you, you do not pay attention. And this tazkara is not only the tazkara of the Quran. Anything we see around us would be a reminder to us, reminding us of our Lord, of our Creator. And therefore, for those of whom a guidance through a prophet has not been sent, or they have not received it, we cannot say that all of them would go to hell or all of them would not be punished, would go to paradise or whatever. It depends whether they were reminded by what they saw around themselves. Yes, of course, those who have not received the Quran or the Bible or whatever, they are not going to be questioned about details of worship, for example. Why didn't you pray? Why didn't you fast? Because this has not reached them. But they are going to be questioned, why didn't you pay heed to your Lord? Why didn't you pay heed to the signs of your Lord, to the reminders of your Lord? If any of them has been reminded by the signs that they see around themselves, then of course their situation would be وَآخَرُونَ مُرْجَوْنَ لَأَمْرِ اللَّهِ. They are kept until the day of judgment. Their judgment is postponed until Allah decides about them, whether they were reminded by the signs around them or they were not. If they were not, then they are from those who should go to hell. If yes, then there's another decision for them. So, what is said here is that it is not the case that you think by paying attention to the arrogant and to the rich, and by trying to appease them, to please them, they are coming to listen to you. It's not the case. If they do not want to be reminded, they never would be. This is only a reminder for whoever who wishes to be reminded. And this is another way of saying that La ikraha fi din. There is no force in religion. There is no obligation in faith. And of course, that is not should not be construed as what some modernists say, that there is no compulsion in religion, in the sense that you should not force people to do some social duties of Islamic code of conduct. That's a different thing. Faith here means faith in the heart. You cannot force anyone to have faith in their hearts. It is a completely personal, private, and free choice that everyone should make about their faith, whether they want to be faithful or they don't want to be faithful. However, if you live in a Muslim society or a Muslim environment, then of course there are some legal codes or codes of conduct that you have to follow. That's a completely different thing. So here it says, "Kalla innaha tadhkira." By no means you can do that. You can please these people. This is but a reminder. So whoever wishes is reminded of it, can be reminded by it. Dhakarahu means remembers it, remembers what is inside it. And this is fi suhufin mukarramah, marfu'atin mutahharah, ba'aydi safarah, kiramin bararah. These 4 verses, 4 very, very short sentences, describes the quality of this tadhkirah. When we say, "Kalla innaha tadhkirah, faman sha'a dhakarah," this is but a reminder, and whoever wishes could be reminded of it. Now, what type of reminder is this? By qualifying these reminders, again, Allah reminds us of the fact that people of evil nature can never be reminded by this. This is something that only pure hearts can grasp. This is only people who are not, in a sense, ridiculed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can grasp. These verses are very horrifying. Some of the verses that say that Allah ridicules people, makes mockery of people. At the beginning of Surah Baqarah, we have, when they meet the believers, they say, "We are with you," and when they go to their own shayateen, قَالُوا إِنَّا مَعَكُمْ إِنَّمَا نَحْنُ مُسْتَهْزِئُونَ. We are just making mockery of them. We are just ridiculing them by saying that, okay, we are with you. And then the next verse says, "Allahu yastahzi'u bihim." Allah makes ridicule of them. This is a really terrifying verse. If this happens for someone, if this calamity comes to someone that Allah makes ridicule of them, وَيَمُدُّهُمْ فِي طُغْيَانِهِمْ يَعْمَهُونَ, and then extend or increase whatever Allah gives them to continue with their arrogance, with their rebellion. This is the mockery of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You do something, Allah gives you more to somehow do more of that evil. And Allah again rewards you for that. And you think that everything has been somehow organized for you. The world is going in your direction. Everything is good for you. This is when Allah is making mockery of you. The angels are laughing at you, the way you are being treated by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah Tawbah, we have الَّذِينَ يَلْمِزُونَ الَّذِينَ يلمزون المؤمنين في الصدقات والذين لا يجدون إلا جهدهم. Some of the people in the Ghazwat al-Tabuk, Prophet, peace be on him, wanted money, wanted armor, wanted different things, provision to take for the army. So he asked people to bring whatever they could. And some of the people who were very poor, they just brought a handful of dates and gave it to the Prophet as the provision. They said, "This is what we have, you take it with you as a provision of this army." And the munafiqun started to laugh, making mockery. Look, this Prophet is taking provision from these poor people, a handful of dates. And Quran now comes back with a very, very heavy rebuke here, that فَيَسْخَرُونَ مِنْهُمْ, they make mockery of them, bringing this handful of days. سَخِرَ اللَّهُ مِنْهُمْ, Allah makes mockery of them. Now, how Allah makes mockery of them, how Allah ridicules them? By just giving them more and more and more, and they continue dancing in a in a way, the dance of shaitan in this world. They become the tools of shaitan in this world. This is the mockery. Now, here, these verses say that no one can touch these verses by his heart, by their hearts. No one can grasp it. No one can understand it unless they have come out of that mockery of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Unless they are pure. Because this tadhkirah is pure. Because what is inside this Quran is pure. And therefore, those people who are impure, they cannot come and understand it. No matter how much you try to please them, no matter how long you explain this for them, they are not going to understand it. So this is again a very forceful argument here that you shouldn't attend to those people of arrogance and wealth, because those are the people who are being mocked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You should only attend to those who come with a fearful heart and want to touch and grasp the meanings of this Quran. So, كَلَّا إِنَّهَا تَذْكِرَةٌ فَمَنْ شَاءَ ذَكَرَهُ فِي صُحُفٍ مُكَرَّمَةٍ. These are not written in ordinary books. These are written in suhuf. Suhuf is the plural of sahifa. Sahifa in Arabic language is whatever you write something on it, whether it's a parchment, it's a paper, it's a skin, it's a stone, or whatever. This is called a sahifa. Now, we can take this to a spiritual level as well. The angels who are given these reminders could be called sahifa as well. Or those who carry them in whatever way Allah gives it to them, they are carrying these sahifas as well. And these sahifas, which are pure, before coming down to you, before you write it down on papers, these are mukarramah, very, very much dignified. These are not ordinary suhuf, and mukarramah means these are not ordinary literature. Because if a book or a sahifa is dignified, not because of course, its shape or form or cover, it's dignified because of its contents. And therefore, the contents of these suhuf are so dignified, so honorable. Marfu'atan, they are high, they are actually raised above the evils of impure hearts. And mutahhara, of course, they are completely pure, purified from any evil, purified from any uncleanliness. Now, what are uncleanliness? Different types of uncleanliness that can ever enter a literature. Okay, it might be words which are batil, which are void, which are untrue. So, of course, the Quran is described to be that no batil would ever enter it, neither when the angels receive it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nor when it comes down and are written by scribes and handed down to you, nor when the Prophet is somehow taking it from the angels and talking it to you, no batil would come. إِنَّهُ, as we have in Surah Fussilat, إِنَّهُ لَكِتَابٌ عَزِيزٌ. This is a very, very dignified book. لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه. Batil never enters it. Neither when it has not come to you yet, before it comes to you, من بين يديه ولا من خلفه. Nor after it has come to you, batil would not enter this. So it's mutahhara. It's very, very pure. The other thing that might somehow make a literature, make a writing impure, is the amount of speculation and doubt which it contains. Now, we know that whatever we write as human beings, there's always a portion of doubt, of speculation. Our scientific theories always have a portion of speculation, isn't it? We cannot be 100% sure about it. Our philosophical views, our whatever we discuss in philosophy, always have that some grain of speculation in it, doubt, what Quran calls raib. Raib means that doubt which comes to a literature because of the amount of speculation. Because we human beings always have some part of truth, and then we try to extend it to areas which, of course, could be extended only by speculation. Now, the Quran does not have that. ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ. There is no rayb in this. None of these verses that talk to you contains any type of a speculation. It's pure truth. It's pure haqq, and therefore, again, it's mutahhara. Another type of impurity that may come to a book is that no matter how the author tries to be pure, tries to somehow distance themselves from speculation, even if it's a prophet, even if that author is a prophet, again, because they are human beings and they have different attitudes, contradictions come to what they say. At some point, they are in good mood, at some point they are in bad mood, at some point they receive some news which are good, at some point they receive some news which are bad, and therefore, Quran says, وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ. If this book was from anyone but from Allah, لَوَجَدُوا فِيهَا اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. They would have found lots of contradictions in this book. But a book which is written in the course of 23 years, of course, there is, you cannot see any contradiction in it. And that means it's purified in the sense that it does not come from a human source. No matter how that human source might be pure, it doesn't come from a human source, and therefore you cannot find any contradiction in it. It's mutahhara, again, it's pure, it's clean of any joke or any unserious talk. Whatever you find in this book is serious talk, is real talk. إِنَّهُ لَقَوْلٌ فَاصِلٌ وَمَا هُوَ بِالْحَازِلِ. This is a serious talk. It's not something which comes out of some sort of joke or anything like that. So, these, whatever is contained in this, فِي صُحُفٍ مُكَرَّمَةٍ مَرْفُوعَةٍ مُطَهَّرَةٍ. And some people say that this verse is very nicely could be connected. This verse very nicely could be connected with a verse in Surah Ahzab. إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. Allah wants to purify you so that you could understand whatever is in this Quran. And also with the verse in Surah Al-Waqi'ah, لا يمسه إلا المطهرون. No one can touch and grasp the real meanings of this book unless those who are completely purified, those who are mutahharun. And of course, to the degree that the heart is purified, they can be reminded by this book. And this is very important. This is a methodology, of course, that you cannot find in human literature. In human literature, you just need to have more knowledge and more information and sound judgment to understand what a human author says. With this book, it's different. It is Allah who closes your heart to it or who opens your heart to it. Well, and when we say Allah, whenever we bring Allah in, we shouldn't think that it comes as an ad hoc type of decisions. It's a systematic type of thing which goes on. A heart which is pure is open to this book. A heart which is evil is close to this book. تَبَعَ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ. Allah has sealed their hearts. وَعَلَىٰ سَمْعِهِمْ وَأَبْصَارِهِمْ. They are sealed because they are evil. And this book is pure. It cannot be understood by evil heart. And to the degree, this is a very, very important thing, and you can even experience this. Whenever you are pure, you are in good nature, you can see, you recite these verses of the Quran, you get meanings of it that you never had ever imagined and thought. And sometimes we recite this book, we are bored, we do not understand anything out of it, we think this is an old literature, this is mythical literature, what is it talking about? This is when we are not in good nature. This is when Allah has sealed our hearts, because the hearts have gone impure, and then we cannot understand it. So, you try to bring these people to yourself, You try to talk to these people, you try to make them understand, but I tell you, they do not understand. It's because whatever is in this book is pure, and it cannot be contained in impure hearts. في صحف مكرمة مرفوعة مطهرة. Now, صحف, of course, the exegetes have speculated about the meaning of these suhuf. What are these suhufun mukarramas? Some people say that when the scribes, the companions of the Prophet, were writing these revelations on parchments or on bones or on rocks and such things, these are suhufun mukarrama, which of course is a very unexpected interpretation, because it talks about the book before coming down. Marfu'atan mutahhara ba'aydi safara kiramin barara. It talks about the angels who are bringing it. So it cannot be that. And therefore some exegetes have said that this is Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz. This book before coming down to you in the form of words is in Suhuf al-Mukarrama, means in Lawh al-Mahfuz. Lawh al-Mahfuz being the place where all decrees and revelations of Allah come first. That is coming one level down from the dignity of the Arsh. They come one level down then to reach us. It's a medium between us and the Arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Again, nowhere the term Suhuf is used for Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz. This is plural. Al-Lawh al-Mahfuz is just one single thing. And it cannot be certainly the Suhuf which is talked about here. And therefore we can say that these revelations which come down to Prophet, peace be on him, before coming down, is not just one single thing. Of course, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, maybe in Lawh al-Mahfuz, it's one single thing, but it comes into different sahifas to prophets, maybe by different angels, as we will see later on, each angel bringing a part of it. Ba'aydi, and this is what somehow confirms what I say, Ba'aydi safara, by the hands of safara. Safara is either the plural of safar, means a scribe or writer, or the plural of safir, means ambassador, someone who brings a message. And etymologically, safara means to reveal something. And a scribe is a safar because they reveal of a meaning by writing it down. And an ambassador is a safir because they reveal the intentions of those who have sent them. Now here, whether we take this to be safara, the plural of safar, meaning scribes, or the plural of safir, meaning ambassadors, both are somehow alluding to the angels who write this down, not of course in the way that we write it, when Allah reveals it to them. Ba'aydi safara. And these are, of course, kiramin barara. Kiram is the plural of karim, and barara is the plural of bar. Karim is, of course, a dignified person, and bar is someone who is good-natured, always does good. Now, in their nature they are dignified, these safara, these ambassadors, which bring this revelation down to you. In their nature they are dignified, and in their actions they are bar. They always do things rightly and properly. Now, if this refers to the angels, which bring the suhuf down to the Prophet, then it would allude to a very important fact, and that is, it's not Jibreel only who brings the revelation down. Jibreel is only the head of this process of revelation. The process of revelation is, even in the world of angels, a very, very complicated process. It's not something that could be done by one angel. As, of course, we have in other surah, that angel Jibreel, alayhi salam, is muta'in thamma, amin, is very trusted, and he is obeyed by all other angels who bring this revelation. So it's as if there is angel Jibreel, who is in charge of bringing knowledge and revelation to the prophets, and then there are angels working under him. We don't know how, and why this is needed. Of course, as I said, that's a world much more complicated for us to understand. But he has other angels under him, just like Malakul Maut, Israel alayhi salam, who is one angel in charge of the reception of the souls of people, taking the souls from this world to the next world safely. You don't ever underestimate the mission of this Malakul Maut. This is one of the most delicate and one of the most important and benevolent missions that any angel would ever have. We think as an angel of wrath or something that makes people die. No, this is a very, very benevolent action, taking the soul safely from this world and making it arrive in the next world. This angel Israel has many, many angels under him, which of course are in the process of taking souls. And of course, at the end of the day, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who's in charge. And therefore, in one verse we have Allahu yatawaffal anfusa hina mawtiha. Allah is the one who takes the souls. In other verse we have قُلْ يَتَوَفَّاكُمْ مَلَكُ الْمَوْتِ الَّذِي وَكَّلَ بِكُمْ. Malakul Maut, who is Israel, is the one who takes your souls. And in other verses we have تَوَفَّتْهُ رُسُلُنَا. Our ambassadors, our messengers go to them and take their souls. So there is a hierarchy here. The same process goes with the revelation. It's Allah who sends it down. إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ. We have revealed to you this book on Laylatul Qadr, or this is Tanzilul Aziz al-Hakim, Tanzilul Hakim al-Alim. This is the revelation coming from Allah, the Hakim and Alim. Or, of course, it's Nazala biha Ruhul Amin. It's Ruhul Amin, Jibreel, who brings this down to your heart. And, of course, then there are these Safara, or An-Naza'at, or As-Safat, as we have in many other verses, these angels of revelation which bring the revelation. And it shows that the process of revelation is much more complicated than we understand. Whether some of these angels come to Prophet on different occasions so he sees different angels, or whether these angels are the ones who bring that to Jibreel and then Jibreel brings it all the time to the Prophet, peace be on him, or whether different chapters of the Quran are revealed to different angels and different angels bring it down to the heart of the Prophet. These are the things that we do not know. What we know is that what here it is said by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that this is marfu'atan mutahhara. It's very high above the evils of this world, very close to Allah, purified, ba'aydi safara, by the hands of the Safara writers. And these Safara, in their nature, they are dignified, and in their act, they always do their job in the most perfect way. Kiramin barara. Just to close this chapter, and then we go to another chapter of this surah. By this chapter, I don't mean closing the surah, closing this chapter of the surah. These angels are called as-Safaratil Kiramil Barara, the ambassadors or the scribes which are dignified in their nature and do their job in the best way. As-Safaratil Kiramil Barara. In one hadith, a very beautiful hadith from the Prophet, peace be on him, we have Al-Hafidhu lil-Quran al-Amilu bih, someone who takes the Quran to the heart. Now, Hafiz might mean someone who memorizes the Quran by the heart, or someone who observes the honor of the Quran. This is the Hafiz as well. Al-Hafidhu lil-Quran al-Amilu bih, and the one who acts according to these verses. Not only knows it, not only honors it, and not only memorizes it, but acts according to it. Al-Hafidhu lil-Quran al-Amilu bih ma'a safaratil kiramil bararah. They will be with these ambassadors, dignified ambassadors who are who do things perfectly. In a sense, there will be with these angels of revelation. And this is an honor for al-hafidhu lil-Qur'an al-amilu bih. If you recite the Qur'an, if you act according to it, then you will be raised to the level of these angels who initially bring these meanings down to the heart of the Prophet. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammadin wa alihi at-tahirin.
Thank you very much indeed, Sheikh. Brothers, sisters, any volunteers for you? Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaykum salam.
When Allah revealed Himself to Prophet Musa, he fell down unconscious. So how did Allah reveal Himself to us in Alam Adar? And can He reveal Himself to us in this world and maybe in the hereafter as well? Or
In Alam Azhar, I don't remember. So don't ask me about Alam Azhar. But in this world, if He could not reveal Himself to Musa, how could He reveal Himself to us? When I say could, I don't mean that He doesn't have power. It means we don't have the capacity for it. In Akhirah, of course, things are different. We evolve into very, very more powerful beings with much, much greater capacity. And therefore, that is possible, that we could meet Him in the sense that our hearts could grasp His glory and His magnificence. If not in full, in very, very high level. And that's the way He reveals Himself to us in Darul Akhirah.
Thank you. Any sisters? No? Riyadh?
Sheikh, thank you very much indeed for your lecture. Sheikh, when somebody is trying to, or a human being tries to grasp with a concept, there are many thought processes, but two that come to mind is that they might have a level of speculation, as you said, as to what could this possibly mean. And that could be an extrapolation of what is existent before them. But the other thing that they might also be doing is coming to something with a degree of cynicism, that is to say, this can't be right. And I guess, in a sense, that's a self-defensive mechanism, because if you start with a null hypothesis like that to say it can't be, and then you have to prove that it is, then that keeps you, if you like, safe. So when the Quran says, La rayba fi, does that mean it's this sense of starting off with a sense of denial and proving it, or does it mean the extrapolation of a situation?
La rayba fi, not la rayba in the heart of the people. Of course, there are lots of doubts about the Quran in the heart of the people. It means it does not talk with rayb. It does not talk with a speculation. This is pure knowledge, not a knowledge which is ordinary knowledge, usually of other human beings, as we see usually in other human beings, which is mixed with a speculation. So I don't know what you're asking exactly, about the Quran itself or about the way the people take the Quran.
It's about how people begin or try to understand the Quran. So it's from within. So it's really two main areas. One is that they look at it and then they make it further than what it actually is. Right? And the other way is they look at it and say, this with the view that this can't be, and it has to prove itself to you, if you like, for it to be.
Well, of course, usually the station of most of the people is that when they start with anything, including the Quran, they start with some sort of rayb and doubt that whether this is true or not, could be this true or not. And especially when it comes to those concepts which are beyond our physical material life, like, for example, about the hereafter, about the world of angels, revelation, these things which are completely unknown to us and are the areas which we cannot experience, and we have no proof for it outside what is said here in the Quran. And therefore, all the time we start from this point. Whether this is true or not, can it be true? Or as you said, it cannot be, it's not possible. But as I said, if it was only this book, we had justification to reject it. But there is another thing inside us, which we always compare it with what is in this book. Now, that thing which is inside us, next week, inshallah, when we cover next of the rest of the surah, the following verses, it says, قُتِلَ الْإِنسَانِ مَا أَكْفَرَ. How insan covers, how human being covers what is inside them, or the knowledge that they have, and then it goes telling them how they have come about and these things. Then the attitude of people are completely in two different directions. One is that we deny whatever we already know in ourselves because we are completely directed towards our pleasures in this world. Or no, we really want to explore what is inside us, what knowledge we have about God. And therefore we always confirm, and this is what Quran says, tasdeeq, you have to confirm this, in the sense that you match it with what you know about yourself, about God, and then you confirm what is inside this. And those areas which are completely unfamiliar to you, like angels, like hereafter, then you accept it because you have confirmed that this has come from a source which confirms what you already know about yourself and about your Lord. So, yes, we always start with that station of raib or doubt, and then we carry on.
Okay. Thank you, Sheikh. Any sisters before we come back to brothers? No? Okay. Bismillah.
Sure.
Alaykum salam.
Couple of points. First point was my brother here says Musa revealed himself to Allah revealed himself to Musa. Allah never revealed himself to Musa. He revealed himself to the mountain, I believe. Isn't that true, or is the other way around?
No, that's true. That's why I said if Musa if Allah could not reveal himself to Musa in this world, he cannot reveal himself to us. True.
The second thing is about this story of La Rayba Fi. I think it is one of the biggest challenges, because everybody who put a theory or put a thing, he says, in my opinion, or my view, or Allahu A'lam, even the Marja, when they put their thing, it's the Quran is the one thing, and the Ahl Bayt is the only two things which give thing, and they say, this is what it is. They don't tell you, listen, there is in our opinion, there is another thing. My last point is, you know when you said, أخذ الله من آدم ذرياتهم, and he gave us the knowledge. But there is another surah which says, أخرجكم من بطون أمهاتكم لا تعلمون شيئا.
Yeah.
So how does this goes with the other one?
Yeah, very good. About your second point, yes, that's the case. I think we have discussed this before, that prophets and imams, those who have access to pure knowledge, they never speak out of a speculation, and we do not expect them to speak out of speculations. And that's why, for example, we completely differentiate between the companions of the prophets and between Imam Ali alayhi salam, because Imam Ali spoke of knowledge, from knowledge, out of knowledge, and other companions spoke of their own opinions and understanding. So, yes, Ahlul Bayt, any prophet, any wasi, and the Quran, they speak of truth, not of speculated truth. About this verse, there are two levels of knowledge, certainly. When we come out of the wombs of our mothers, وَاللَّهُ أَخْرَجَكُم مِّن بُطُونِ أُمَّهَاتِكُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ شَيْئًا وَجَعَلَ لَكُمُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. Means you didn't have any knowledge which came through these eyes and ears and hearts or minds, so to speak. Judge your judgment. And that's the case. We come, we have no knowledge, we gradually learn. Of course, some knowledge which is intrinsic we have. Like, for example, we know that we have to suckle for milk. This is what Allah has put inside us. But things which are learned by heart, by eyes and by ears, we don't. This is completely different from that type of initial knowledge that Allah has put in our fitrah about Himself, which we are going to somehow confirm it and explore it here. That's why we have come here. That knowledge is a sort of crude initial knowledge. We come to this world to confirm it, in a way to unfold it, to understand it, because if we do not have the experience of this world, we never understand what that means. By coming to this world, we understand it, and then by going to the next world, we build upon it. So every phase has its own very, very important instrumental role in development of human beings. To avoid the contradiction, we have to say that these are two different types of knowledge. There, Allah doesn't talk about a knowledge. It talks about a shahada, a witness. You were taken as witnesses that Allah showed you that He is your Lord. قَالَ أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ قَالُوا بَلَى. Shahidna, we witnessed this. But this is not still knowledge. Okay? When we come to this world, we recite these verses of the Quran, we see things that go outside this world. That witness turns into knowledge. Of course, again, this is a very crude knowledge until we go to the next world and it turns into, gradually it turns to real knowledge. Still, whatever knowledge we have in this world about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is very crude until we go to the next world and then it turns into better type of, more transparent knowledge about Him.
Thank you, Sheikh. Yeah, I like that phrase which you say, the witness turns into knowledge gradually, and then it becomes perfect. Thank you very much indeed. Any sisters? No? Kamil?
You say that Allah tries to mock the unbelievers by giving them more blessings so they forget themselves. And actually in one dua we say, Allahumma la tastadrizni bil ihsan wa la tu'adhibni bil bala. I don't know if that's right. And it says that, oh Allah, do not graduate me towards my by your blessings, and do not teach me by your calamities. So how do you recognize that the blessings we get is Allah telling us that He's happy with us, or Allah just leaving us and on our own?
Yeah, good. This shows that during the history, all the questions of people are almost the same, because the same question was asked from Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam. How should we know that when we get a blessing from Allah, is this an istidraj, meaning that Allah is taking us gradually towards final calamity and destruction, or it is really a blessing from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And the answer is that any blessing you receive and you give thanks for it is not istidraj, or is not istihza. It is a blessing. If you don't give thanks for it, if you think that this is what you have acquired, this is again another pleasure, good luck. Some people have luck in this world, some people don't have luck in this world, so I have the luck of having all these things, or I have the knowledge to acquire these. You try to just say that I have gathered this, as the Quran says that when you tell to some people that you remember what Allah has given you in His ihsan, you say that قَالَ إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي. I had the knowledge to acquire it, and I don't owe anything to Allah. This is the earning of my own hands. This is istidraj, of course. Any blessing you receive and you give thanks for it is not istidraj. Otherwise, it's istidraj.
Thank you, Sheikh. Any sisters? No? Riyadh?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. Very inspiring. Just to carry on with what you were discussing just now, I've met a person who was in charge of an off-license shop only a couple of years ago, and he sells beer and spirits, and he's become half a multimillionaire now. So I spoke to him and I said, why don't you give thanks for what you've received, even if it was from illegal means? He says, if I start thanking Allah, I'm afraid that He'll withdraw what He's given me. And that is a real conversation which took place only last year. So it just puts things into perspective how important that question was, what he just said.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting. I mean, the way the people think that if they give thanks to Allah, He would withdraw things.
He was forever asking, and he was never thanking.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in two different positions as such when we sat down together for lunch. So, I said to him, all you have to do is say, thank you, God. So he said, no, He might stop it. If I say thank you, He'll stop it. Then who am I dependent on? So in his kufr, he's actually dependent on Allah, but in the wrong way, if you know what I mean.
In a sense, he's right. I think he is a very clever man. Because if he starts thanking Allah, Allah would stop to provide illegal things to him. You see? And that means that Allah is taking care of him, and therefore, things might go wrong in His own way.
My original question was relevant to the word suhufil ula. Suhuf Ibrahim wa Musa. If you can please connect the two ayats, the one that we are expounding today and this other one which is often recited. I don't remember where it comes from.
Yeah, in Surah Al-A'la, at the end of Surah Al-A'la, we have that in هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. What you are given is already written in Suhuf al-Ula, the previous book. Suhuf al-Ula here means previous book. And then specifically in the books of Ibrahim and the books of Musa. That refers to the books of previous prophets. And actually some exegetes, maybe I forgot to mention that, some exegetes have said that this Suhuf Mukarrama means the Suhuf al-Ula, the books of previous prophets. But it doesn't go very nicely with the context of the verses. That's why most exegetes say that no, it's not Suhuf al-Ula. This Suhuf al-Mukarrama is not Suhuf al-Ula. That's, of course, they are Mukarrama as well. They are from the same source. But these Suhuf al-Mukarrama are revelations before coming down to human world and before being written down. And therefore, these are completely two different things.
Just to expound on the word Suhufil Ula, so can we take it for as obvious that the Suhuf itself, with regards to the books of Ibrahim and Musa, were actually existential, actual books that were written by the Holy Hand as such?
Yes, yes, of course. Suhuf Musa is Torah, and Suhuf, plural Sahifa, means pages. Okay, so pages of Musa are Torah, and pages of Ibrahim. Yes, we have. We can certainly confirm that Ibrahim alayhi salam was given a book, and usually they say the name of the book of Ibrahim because we don't know what name that book had, if any. They say the name of the book of Ibrahim is Suhuf, which is of course not right. Suhuf means book, so we don't know what the name of that book was, or whether it had any name at all, but Allah revealed the book to Ibrahim that he wrote it, or someone else wrote it. And that book is completely lost. Like Injil, which is lost completely, that book is completely lost as well.
Thank you. Sisters? Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. You know, when you were explaining about how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reveals the truth about himself in people's hearts, and unless it is there, you do not really understand the full import of the Quran, the Holy Quran. It made me think that that means you originally have to have that good and be prepared to acknowledge it as well. So I was thinking that if you have got the love of the Holy Prophet in your heart, and if you truly believe that he was Masoom, then there's no way that you can misinterpret the surah that we are discussing at the moment, misinterpret the ayah. You will search for other meanings and find something that would fit, rather than just putting the blame on the Holy Prophet himself. It's just a remark.
Yeah. This is about our previous discussion, isn't it? Yes, it's about our previous discussion. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Any other last question or comments, brothers, sisters? No? Thank you, Sheikh.
Thank you.
Muhammad wa ala Muhammad salawat.